Hi. I hope this stays. My laptop is in like such an unstable place right now. And I don't love that you can see my entire bed because I feel like that's weird. Like I wish you could see more of this so nice wall that is like, has a little drawing and whatever, but it is what it is. And life is sometimes life can be, unfair. I won't be the first one to tell you that, that's for sure. So today is a hot summer day in somewhere in the world. I guess I shouldn't be saying like my address online to strangers, but somewhere in North America. Hot summer day. There's some nice trees outside my window. It looks actually great, and I actually want to buy a freaking camera so I can do these videos outside because I obviously love yapping, and I obviously love posting really long videos, rambling that have no beginning or end, and that have no purpose other than their very existence. And I there's something about that lack of telos that I really enjoy. But I wanted to talk about something else today. Okay, there's two things I want to just say. I think they're a bit unrelated to each other, but it's like when you know what you want to say, but it's kind of like, okay, the form of the thing is in my mind. I don't know what it is, but I kind of know. Okay, yeah, it's about like, okay, being Venezuelan and then being in the United States. Okay, there I said my location. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, guys, I'm in there. Well, that's North America, but it's important. It's important. It's an important cultural context to compare both countries, and I'll get into that. But first, I want to talk about um something else. Today is June 21st in France. Today they celebrate something called la fête de la musique, which is the I don't know the like date for music, like the day of music, I guess. It's like a holiday. And basically, it's just a really cool day in France because there's just free music all over the streets. Every restaurant will host bands, and you're walking, and there's just all these different kinds of music, like from rock to, I don't know, to maybe something more acoustic to techno. And then at night, it just becomes like a party and it just keeps going, and it's fine to be loud that day. Um, to be fair, where I lived in Rennes, in the Brittany region in the northwest, and it was pretty loud. Usually, that city at night. I mean, not everywhere, but like the bar area. So I guess you wouldn't live in Santan if you are a family of four. You would live in Santan if you are like an Erasmus student or something like that. I think I lived there, but I lived really close. I've been reminiscing about my days in France a lot lately, and that happened like it was like 3 years ago. That was like 2022, 2023 when I lived there. I lived there for a whole year. But the point is that I saw a post on Reddit from someone who was in Paris, and they're like, "Why is there like a rave going on outside of my hotel?" And then people are like, "It's a fête de la musique." And I'm like, wow, June 21st. So I go back into my stories on Instagram, and I'm like, what was I doing on this day? I mean, I remember what I was doing, but I just wanted to see what I posted. And obviously getting there, I see just all these videos and posts of me like in France. And I was posting as well at this time of my life just a lot of pictures of my body, like just a lot of videos posting with outfits and stuff because I was very much into fashion while I was in France. I've always been into fashion, but I think right now I'm kind of developing other hobbies alongside that. Plus, right now I just like I work and I get dirty all day, and I'm like kind of out and about and fields, and like it's just like a cool summer where it's like zero makeup, zero nothing. I brought like bunch of shirts that I'm gonna get dirty, and that's kind of like my outfits for the summer. And it's nice, it's like something new, and I like it. But um, back then it was fashion and it was makeup, and I was going to a lot of raves, so I was also doing a lot of crazy makeup, and I guess I'm gonna like maybe put pictures here like YouTubers do, like when they're like pa 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 pa, um, without the sound effect because I think that's overkill. Okay. But the point is that I was in really good shape back then. Like, well, and that's questionable what good shape is. I was really skinny. That's what I'm gonna say. I was definitely very skinny, as maybe you'll see in these pictures, in comparison to what I am right now. But I was also, again, raving a lot, eating like once a day, and maybe sometimes just like grapes and cigarettes. I was smoking a lot back then. Um, and I was in this parties, obviously, like partying for like 12 hours every weekend. Like, that's a lot of cardio. And plus, on top of that, I started going to the gym and running a lot that summer. So just because I think that's when I kind of the partying went down a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I want to get in shape, I want to be a little more healthy, so I started eating better and all. But um like what it's the thing is that back then I had, this like what felt like a great shape, the best shape of my life in that moment. And I was also doing all this body checking, and I was also very insecure. Like if I see other stories that I would post, it was all about talking of, how I just felt sad all the time and depressed and just like unwanted. And that's generally because of the lack of community that I had while I lived in France. um yeah, I I had few friends while I was there. It was hard to meet people because also as I was there, I was learning the language, and it was really towards the end of my stay where I kind of made the most friends because I was already fluent in French and because I just felt more comfortable in my skin. And I am a person that just needs some time to get used to a new environment. Um, Especially when you don't click in right away. And I think that's just natural for everyone. But obviously France is a very racist country, and like me not being white, I think now in retrospective really got in the way of many of the interactions that I had, or the extent to which people wanted to even get to know me. So there was that, and that also led to the fact that a lot of people who wanted to know me were men who had more like romantic or sexual interest in me rather than simply knowing me as a person. So I think that also really fucked with my head back then, because it made me see myself just as this body, and then everything surrounding it was just dislikable. It was like, well, you're not good at socializing, and then you're not good at, hanging out, and you're not good at being spontaneous and all these things, but at least you have this body. So it was like, wow, I just saw a spider, and I don't know if it's gonna get into my window. Holy shit. I really hope she doesn't get inside. But she's kind of cute. Okay, but someone's coming upstairs. Girl, get out. There's like holes in the windows. So that's why I'm like, please don't get inside. Point being, this was a reality in my life back then, and it's just like that's just always one of the contrasts that I keep in mind sometimes. And right now I have a much healthier relationship with my body. Like I'm a person who grew up with eating disorders and things like that, and just a lot of, you know disliking myself. And it's taken a long journey to learn how to love myself. I'm still pretty much in that process. um, I'm young, but I recognize my beauty and my value, and I really care for this body. And what's interesting now is that even though I look different physically from what I used to look back then, and clothes fit different than what they used to fit back then, I just love the way my body looks now, because also in comparison, like from that summer to this summer, I am doing a very labor intensive job. So that means that I'm basically working out every day and lifting heavy stuff, and like kind of squatting a lot, and walking a lot and biking a lot, and it's just like a lot of exercise throughout the day. Genuinely, like sometimes it just feels like I'm in the gym, but it's a gym that is in nature, so that's nice. And so based on that as well, I've noticed my strength go higher. I can see my muscles forming as time passes. I am eating very good food. I am eating home cooked meals all the time. There's really not that many stores around. So, like, I can, kind of control those urges to, buy sugary things or whatever, or just eat generally unhealthy stuff. And I still eat it and treat myself, but it's in a much, much lesser rate than when I was in college, or when I go to the city or things like that. So my relationship to my health is, one, a lot more realistic, two, a lot more healthy than what it used to be back then. Because back then, to me, looking in the mirror and just seeing all this bones all over, poking everywhere on my skin, was like the goal. That was the ideal, and I was like, I'm doing things right because I look like this. But also, I was just completely ignoring the fact that I was eating very little, and that I was just having a very unhealthy life and very unhealthy habits. And I think it's just scary to look back, and and see myself kind of blocking those aspects and saying like these are just byproducts of being the person that you want to be. And I think that's how we can sell ourselves narratives very often of, what success looks like for us, or what the good is, and by ignoring a lot of things that we're doing that might not be very virtuous, or that might just not be very like straight up damaging, to your health. Like, I don't, who knows like how much it messes up my brain during that time. But I wasn't caring then, and I was like, yeah, and I'll keep doing it, and I'll do it again, and next week, and it will be the same thing, and it will be the same thing, and yeah, I'm just glad that I've gotten to a point where I know that my physical body does not say much about who I am, and it's in its more aesthetic sense, let's say, because now I care a lot about my body in the sense that, like, okay, I don't have the best knees, so I can't be running anymore, and I cannot be jumping that much, and we have like low blood pressure in my family, so I just have to keep my blood flowing, and like make sure I do my cardios, and also like make sure just like I have a mobile body, because I want to be moving for many years to come, and I just want my body to feel good. I want to feel good in my skin, and what that good is what has transformed, because good before was a visual um was a visual marker. Like, I feel good because I see that it looks good, whereas now it's like I feel good because it feels good. And I don't know, is it like spatial, is it emotional? I don't know what the marker has become now, but I like it, whatever it is. And yeah, that's a cool thing. So that was thing number one that I wanted to talk about. And yeah, I'm gonna do another video for thing number two, so that I don't keep posting like fucking 20-minute long videos, because who the fuck is gonna watch that?